was crazy. How are you doing?
Okay. Everything okay. I afraid for our private meetings. Something wrong. Say demand high paying, high price. So I afraid it's not going good.
Okay. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. We can talk on email maybe, Gregory, or if you want to set up some time later, we can talk about some of that. I wasn't sure. Did somebody email you
Yes,
from
yes. From
Colin?
Poland, they want 150 uh, for private lesson.
Oh, I had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
I'm
Interesting.
not. I'm not ready for this price.
Okay, okay. No, it's good for me to know. I didn't know that was the case. I didn't think they would be charging for those extra sessions. Um, okay, but we'll talk about it, Gregory. I can send you the information that I said I was going to send you, and also from the last class, because I think that will really help you, especially with the homonyms, homographs, heterographs, heteronyms class.
Okay,
I
I hope I ask him, ask Poland administration
uh,
make me lowest price.
mhm.
If they agree, if not, I'm sorry.
Sure thing. No, no problems, Gregory. It's not a problem at all. Sometimes I think these we have to be we have to learn what the Kalingo people are asking. I'll also check and see what they're saying because I wasn't sure about those rules either. So maybe we can find out. Um, so great, guys. We're gonna wait just a couple more minutes, guys. But thank you for joining. I wanted to take some time at the beginning to talk about what we're going to talk about today, right? And the idea is that today we're going to be looking at adverbs of frequency, right? When we use adverbs of frequency in English, we are talking about how often we do things, right? How likely, not how likely, excuse me, but how regularly we do something, right? How common is it that we do something? And there are certain words that we use in English when we make these types of sentences. We're going to be looking at those specific types of adverbs, right? In addition, we are going to be looking at an article about the top food trends of 2013, right? So this year is almost done. We have, mid-November now. November 15 was today. We have, what, 45 days maybe left until the end of the year. Uh, we're going to learn about the most common food ideas in 2013. Restaurants, the big restaurants, what have they been making popular all over the world, or in the United States maybe specifically, over the course of 2013, right? So we're going to be reading about those kinds of things. And before we get to that, guys, since we're talking about food, right, and we're also talking about adverbs of frequency, oh, hey, Orabi, how's it going? Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good, good. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you guys again.
Thank you.
So, because we're going to talk about adverbs of frequency, right, and we're also going to be talking about food, I wanted to ask you guys a question about food and how often you cook food, right? So my question, guys, to begin this class, to start talking about what's going to happen, is my question to you guys is, how often do you cook dinner for yourself, right? How often do you cook dinner for yourself? So for me, when I'm with my friends, like now, I don't cook dinner for myself. One of my friends can cook, he cooks for everybody, right? So I never cook dinner for myself when I am with my friends, right? However, when I live at home, when I'm in Wisconsin, I always cook dinner for myself, right? I always make chicken or pasta or something like that because there's nobody to cook, so I'm forced to cook, right? So, Amr, let's start with you. How often do you cook dinner for yourself?
Mm. After married, I never do it for myself. Expect
Okay.
except when my wife uh, for example, go to her father's house for some days,
Mm-hmm.
I may cook or not because I'm living in apartment above my father apartment. So I may go to my parents and eat with them. So
Mm-hmm.
for my mother's cooking. So
Yeah,
no,
great.
never, most likely never.
That's a great. You have some great options, Amr, right? You live close to your parents, right? I'm sure there are some great restaurants nearby. Maybe if you don't want to eat either location, either with your parents or you don't want to cook for yourself, you can always go to a restaurant nearby also, right?
Yeah, we don't have um, uh, we don't have restaurants other than hummus and full uh, for when you travel on foot. But if you use the car, yes, you will reach a good restaurant.
Uh-huh. Fantastic. And let's see, I guess Gregory, you are sending pictures of pierogies, right?
It's the name of this food pelmeni. It's
Pir Pirmini,
Russian food. It's very is meat inside. It's
Oh, this. Uh-huh.
boiled with meat inside. It's very tasty. I like it.
So
Uh,
how often do you make this?
when we have trouble with my wife, she don't have time for cooking. I make it. It's 10 minutes. It's ready. I buy it's ready, only boiled, and it's very tasty. Uh, I can make dinner for things like that. Uh, semi ready. I buy
Mm-hmm.
it and maybe it's only heat. Sometimes it's more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But as usual, I eat what my wife cooking.
Mm-hmm. Do you prepare this in oil, Gregory, or is it just boiling water? Do you put these pelmenis?
Just boil in water and
A
after that a little oil.
little bit of oil after that. Okay, interesting.
And
Yeah.
it's spicy and tasty. It very very delicious.
Yeah, especially if there's meat inside. It depends. Maybe the spicy meat can also make it give it more flavor, right?
Another thing, I'm going to buy shawarma. You try
Shawarma.
shawarma? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's from here.
Yeah.
Very Middle Eastern. Yeah, very.
Yeah,
I buy
but
shawarma with cucumbers, salt cucumbers, and other things like that, and it's nice and very tasty.
Yeah. Shawarmas are great. Falafel, shawarma, hummus, tahini.
Exactly. Hummus,
Uh,
falafel,
yeah.
we have we have that. Uh, the end of pizza, maybe pizza.
Uh-huh. There is another thing called we have it here in many of the Egyptian restaurants, guys. Baba ghanoush, I think. Baba ghanoush is
It's
yes,
another.
good. What is
It's
it,
your,
Baba Vanish?
or I think Amr, you have to explain. I don't know really. I just had it before. I'm
yeah,
not
it's
sure.
fried. Okay, I forget the name of the black egg. Yes, it's a fried black egg. A black
Uh-huh.
egg, isn't it? A
Yeah,
black
It,
egg.
okay.
eggplant, I think maybe.
Eggplant. Yes, eggplant.
Eggplant. Uh-huh. Black
It's a
eggplant.
yeah, it's a
Uh-huh.
fried then mixed with um. Okay, so I don't have a little a good vocabulary in other than the technical vocabulary of my field.
Uh-huh. No worries, no worries. It's good, it's good. I found some pictures, right? So it's eggplant. I think you take eggplant and you crush it, right?
Yes,
You
with
fry it, but you crush it. Uh-huh.
yes,
And then you add maybe spices and you eat it with bread, like with pita bread or with khubs. We say in Saudi we say khubs.
yes, in Jordan, yes.
Jordan
In
and
Egypt,
Saudi.
in
Hummus.
Egypt, they said aish.
Ash, interesting, interesting. And then in Egypt they also have al-ful mudammas, like broken up beans, right?
Yes,
Al-ful mudammas, very popular in Egyptian cooking actually, and of
yes,
course lots of olives. You guys love olives, right?
yes.
Lots of olives in all kinds of foods. I think have olives in it.
Yes,
So
yes, we have to. A lot of
By
focus.
the way, the thing that Grigio Jojri put the image here is we have it in Jordan. We boiled it with uh, jamid. It's dried yogurt,
Uh-huh.
and it's smashed, then cooked, smashed and put in the water. And we put this. We called it ذنين قطاط يعني meat means cat cat ears.
Uh-huh. Interesting. I've never heard of that before. I've seen there's a great Jordanian dish that I'm trying to think of the name.
Mansaf?
It's yes, exactly. I think it's the national dish, right?
Yes, mansaf.
Yeah, Mustafa, it's a lot of meat, I think, and rice, or is it? Maybe I'm confusing it, Amr, because I'm thinking maybe of kabsa. In Saudi, we say kabsa. It's like
Yes, kapsa.
kabsa
It's
is
not the
bigger.
same, no.
It's
Yeah.
not the same. Okay, my bunsef is. I heard it's delicious. Let me find a picture. I'm getting crazy now, guys. I have to find out what these pictures are like. Mansef is chicken and rice, I think, maybe, right?
No, no, meat. The original is meat, but some people made it
Make it with chicken, maybe
with
also.
yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
Do you see the
Interesting.
sushi mansaf?
Sushi mansef, yeah, at the end. At the end, I've never seen that before. Is it? Do
No,
you guys
it's
have it in Jordan, or
no, no. I think someone who's
joking maybe?
yeah.
Very cool, guys. Orabi, what about you, Orabi? How often do you cook dinner for yourself?
Actually, I rarely do cooking.
Uh-huh.
I sometimes in the past I had to cook for myself. I remember once time I had to make a steak, but what's happening? I bought instead of paper coffee.
So you made coffee for yourself?
No, no, instead of pepper or spicy of over the steak,
Uh-huh.
I bought coffee. Coffee, you know, it's
He could
like
make mistake.
pepper sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. Interesting. That's great. I mean,
Yes, it was very terrible taste, and no one eat it.
it's very creative, but it's yeah, not very tasty, right? Unfortunately, things
Yeah,
like that happen, guys. You can only learn to cook if you make mistakes. You know, my first food that I made for myself, I think I will never serve that food to even my worst enemy, right? Because it was very not did not taste very good, right? But now, if you ask me to make chicken or spaghetti or pasta or something Italian food, I can make that kind of food maybe pretty well. Uh, so Gregory, you're sharing us with some pictures. What was the first one, Gregory, that you sent
The
us?
first one is
Uh,
soup, Ukrainian soup. It's called borщ. And
Borscht.
borщ. If you will be in Russia, it's uh, obligate to eat it because it's
Mhm.
very tasty. It's the first food you can taste.
Mhm.
And the other, I don't know how it's called in the English, but I can make it. It's for
Sunny side
eggs.
eggs.
Sunny side.
Sunny side up eggs. Sunny
I
side
make it
up eggs.
for daughter, and I have I can boiled eggs too,
Uh-huh.
uh, and I can for all for potatoes. I
Hmm.
boiled potatoes or uh, other things with potatoes.
That's awesome. No, I mean eggs were also the very first thing that I learned how to make because they're not very difficult. They have, if you can eat an egg, you can feel full after maybe, one or two eggs with sandwich or something like that, right? So yeah, you guys are great. You guys are coming up with some great ways of talking about these adverbs of frequency, right, in English. So there are a few that we use in English, right? I'm going to go over them briefly because this is a high intermediate class, so we're not going to be focusing too much on the adverbs of frequency, right? But anytime you guys do have questions, let me know, right? So when we talk about these adverbs of frequency, guys, If it's something that you are doing 100% of the time, right? You are cooking dinner for yourself 100% of the time. You can say,
Always.
exactly, Gregory, always, right? We can say the adverb frequency, always. Or you can say every time. Every time, right? Always or every time. Every time I go to my, every time I make dinner for my daughter, I make sunny side up eggs, right? So 100% of the time, whenever I make dinner for my daughter, I always make sunny side up eggs, right? 100% of the time. If something is less than 100% of the time, but more than 50, right? So let's say maybe 80% of the time, 75 to 80% of the time, right? Then we can say usually.
Frequent. Usually.
Usually or also, yeah, frequently. Frequently also works. Usually, frequently. We also say often or often, depending on your pronunciation. Some English speakers say often. Some people say often. In the United States, we say more often. We don't pronounce the T, right? So usually, often, frequently, right? Let's say about 80% of the time you drive to work. You don't take the bus, you don't take some other transportation. So I usually drive to work, right? She often takes the bus to work, right? She often takes the bus to work. So many different types of examples that we see in English, we use not, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens more than 50% of the time, we use usually, right? If something happens 50% of the time, half and half possibility, yes or no, 50%, right? What do you think we guys use in English if it's just 50% of the time?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, right? Sometimes is the most common, right? But we also say occasionally. Occasionally, right? Occasionally, I occasionally cook food for myself. Right? Sometimes, 50%. Maybe my wife is busy and she works on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? I have to cook Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Those are 3 days out of the 7 days of the week. About 50%, right? Sometimes I cook for myself, right? What's another sentence, guys, that you can give me with sometimes? Gregory, do you want to start?
Sometimes. Occasionally.
Yeah, with sometimes, yeah. Or occasionally, yeah.
Uh, as usually I drive to work on my car.
Yeah, usually I drive to work in my car, right? Fantastic.
Occasionally I
Orabi,
take
what about
occasionally I take the bus.
occasionally I take the bus? Fantastic, yeah. Usually I drive, but occasionally I take the bus, right? That works. That works very well in English, right? What about Orabi? What about you? Any sentence with any of these adverbs that you would like, Orabi?
Yes. I occasionally run in the streets.
I usually run in the streets.
I occasionally.
I occasionally run
Some,
in the streets, So sometimes maybe when you're exercising, right? Maybe you go jogging occasionally, go running in the streets, right? So jogging or running, yeah, those are great things to do, right? And Amr, also, what's another example of another one of these sentences? You can use any of these adverbs of frequency.
Okay, sometimes I play table tennis at break or in the break.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I play table tennis during breaks, actually.
Yeah, during the
During
break.
breaks is the best way to, during the breaks, yeah, or during the breaks. Fantastic, right? So these are things that we do every once in a while, right? Sometimes 50% of the time, right? And then if something happens, guys, less than 50% of the time, so let's say 20%, 30% of the time, right? We use, yeah, go
Rarely.
ahead, Gregory. Fantastic. We use rarely. Rarely, or we can also say seldom. Seldom. Seldom is a little bit more formal, guys. We don't hear it in normal conversation. Seldom. I seldom do my homework. You know? A child who doesn't do his homework, I seldom do my homework, right? So we use seldom or we say rarely. I rarely cook for myself because my wife is almost always at home, right? She does the cooking. So those are all these other examples that we can see, right? And what about, guys, if we don't do anything at all, 0% of the time?
Never.
Never.
Never, absolutely fantastic, right? Never is the one word that we use very, very, very often, and but the thing is, you don't want to say never too much. You don't want to say always too much, right? Because they're extreme, right? 100% to 0%. Most people are not that crazy extreme, right? Most of us fall in the middle. We fall in the usually or often or sometimes or rarely, those kinds of things, right? But maybe you do something, maybe you never do something, then you can use never, right? Or maybe you always do something, then you can use always. But generally, those are very extreme. Any questions, guys, about these adverbs of frequency?
Yes, from time to time. Is it considered from the adverb of frequency or its expression for frequency?
That's a great question. I think it is considered an expression. Yeah, because time to time we see to is a preposition, time is a noun, from is also a preposition. So from and to are prepositions, and time.
Trouble. Glitch.
Oh, I think he's lost the connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually it happens.
Yes. Yesterday he lost. That's good. That's not somehow no problem.
Yeah. Farhan just now repaired it, I hope.
What is the time? You are in Russia now, yes? Isn't that?
No, Israel. I'm from Israel.
Brazil, yeah.
We are
It's
neighbors. Oh, you in United States now. I understand, yes?
no, I'm in Jordan, Middle East.
Jordan, so we're neighbors.
Uh-huh.
how common is it that we do something? And there are certain words that we use in English when we make these types of sentences. We're going to be looking at those specific types of adverbs, right? In addition, we are going to be looking at an article about the top food trends of 2013, right? So this year is almost done. We have, mid-November now. November 15 was today. We have, what, 45 days maybe left until the end of the year. We're going to learn about the most common food ideas in 2013. Restaurants, the big email you
Yes,
from
yes. From Kalinga, they want 150 for private lesson.
Oh, I had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm not ready for this price.
Okay, okay. No, it's good for me to know. I didn't know that was the case. I didn't think they would be charging for those extra sessions. Okay, but we'll talk about it, Gregory. I can send you the information that I said I was going to send you, and also from the last class, because it was crazy. How are you doing?
Okay. Everything okay. I'm afraid for our private meetings something wrong. Say demand high paying, high price. So I'm afraid it's not going good.
Okay. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. We can talk on email maybe, Gregory, or if you want to set up some time later, we can talk about some of that. I wasn't sure. Did somebody sure about those rules either? So maybe we can find out. So great, guys. We're gonna wait just a couple more minutes, guys. But thank you for joining. I wanted to take some time at the beginning to talk about what we're going to talk about today, right? And the idea is that today we're going to be looking at adverbs of frequency, right? When we use adverbs of frequency in English, we are talking about how often we do things, right? How likely, not how likely, excuse me, but how regularly we do something, right? Because I think that will really help you, especially with the homonyms, homographs, heterographs, heteronyms class.
Yeah, I ask him, calendar administration,
Uh,
make me lowest price.
mhm.
If they agree, if not, I'm sorry.
Sure thing. No problems, Gregory. It's not a problem at all. Sometimes I think these we have to learn what the Colingo people are asking. I'll also check and see what they're saying because I wasn't.